What if time's locked in a cell with you? What if the wound is time? He walks with a limp from the weight of the past. Shadows in his mind, got a blade in the stash. Tatted arms like chapters, scars like scripture. Every street lamp flicker feel like a missed picture. Never cried once, he was raised in the gutter. Mama OD'd and he never knew a brother. Life didn't give him lemons, it gave him rage. Now he's out on parole, still stuck in that cage. Thoughts like thunder, he don't pray, he plots. Eyes like a war zone, voice full of knots. Whispers turn venom, silence turns loud. He ain't looking for peace, he's looking for a crowd. How does one go on without the time? How do you fight fate when you walk the line? Venom in his tongue, fire in his chest. He ain't sleeping, he's dreaming of death. Life never ends when you're doing life. Chains on the soul, but his knuckles still fight. No love, no God, just blood and a curse. He was never understood without the slurs. He spits like a serpent, words coil tight. Truth wrapped in venom, born of the night. He ain't scared of a man, only scared of the mirror. Cause what's looking back just keeps getting clearer. Used to dream of love, now he fiends for a war. Can't fill a broken soul with a liquor store. Takes pride in the pain and the havoc he brings. To the weak he's a lesson, to the lost he's a king. He don't trust no.
You've just stepped into the undercurrent, where silence speaks, and the dead have stories, where trials twist, lies tangle, and justice waits in the dark. This is 12 Gauge, and not just reporting relentless truth.
Let me show you how to say that. All right, all right, all right. That's how you say it. So if you're going to use my stuff, make sure you say it right. Anyways, my name's 12 Gauge, and I am not the owner of that. All right, all right, all right. If you're from Texas, you know Matthew McConaughey is the original and can't be duplicated. Can't be duplicated at all. My name is 12 Gauge, and this is my channel, 12 Gauge Investigative. This is your first time here. I hope you enjoy what I'm about to present. Hope you enjoy the library of videos that I have on this Idaho 4 case, the videos that I have on other cases, and everything that I discuss in this channel. You know, the difference between you and me. I make this look good. Jeffrey, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? How you doing? Hope everything's going well in your neck of the woods. I would get on here and play some guitar, but you know what? I'm not at that point yet. But I'm looking at my guitar right over here. Hopefully we can have a session soon, right? Anyways, everybody's been asking me about this Dylan Mortensen interview, and I really have been so much out of the loop. I don't even have a clue what the hell the interview is about. So I decided to play it so that those of you who haven't seen it have a chance to see it, have a chance to listen to it, and instead of putting in undeserved accusations and everything else under the sun, we'll get and allow you to have your decision on what you hear Dylan say and what you hear Dylan not say. Yeah, there's always time for jamming later. Yes, indeed. I'm looking forward to it, buddy. Well, here we go. Let's see. As you know, this happened on 11/13/2022. The first video, the 5-minute video, as I interpret this, um, was put out toward the end of this video. So this is the original, interrogation. So let's see what Dylan has to say. Of course, there's going to be some redactions because, you know, it is a interview. It's not an interrogation. And a lot of everything that is said is not public knowledge. It is not um, public information, such as birth dates. It's not okay for the police to dox people that are not suspects. It's against the law, actually. So when you hear redactions, it's not a nefarious move. It is merely just something to protect the individual that's being interviewed. Well, here we go.
All right, my name is Lawrence. And if everybody you actually spoke to the common way, except your parents didn't go crazy on you? What's your middle initial? And what's your last name?
Oh, let me do something before I forget. You can see this full video on Plunder True Crime, and I'm merely giving an educational perspective on this, not a speculation or a reaction. I'm going to be speaking on the interrogation process, so it is an educational video. Plunder, thank you so much for always having the videos and the best stuff. You're highly respected in the true crime community. Here we go.
What's your date of birth?
2003.
And what is a good phone number for you? Okay. You got your phone with you, Rose?
Yeah.
Do you have any pictures, any video, or anything like that? Any social media posts?
No.
Okay. And what's a good address for you?
Like,
Just make somewhere.
Okay, let me stop right there because I know a lot of people are going to say, well, she did have social media posts. She was supposedly posting at what, 3:30? That's never been confirmed. That is speculation from the very beginning. So the fact that she said no, she doesn't have any social media posts about this crime or anything else, then she wasn't lying. 3:30 was the time that a lot of people were saying that she uploaded a photo or something like that, and it's never been confirmed.
Where are you living right now? Are you here at the university? What house is that?
what do you mean?
Is that an apartment or a sorority?
It's a house.
Okay. I don't know the sorority, so I
Oh,
apologize.
yeah.
I don't even know if there's any what's there.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me what you know.
Okay, so there was a Summit High party. Obviously, yes, we were drinking. I left to go to my friend's house.
When was that party?
I think I went there around like 10:30ish
Last night or this morning?
last night. And then, I went to, and then,
Okay, so she tells you that she was at a swimming party and she was drinking with her friends. We never knew this information, and if you've known this before, then you're one up on me because I really have not been that type of enmeshment into my every moment of my life existence has been about this case. So if you knew that already, kudos to you. But we have always wondered, we as a conglomerative audience have always wondered, what was Dylan up to? What was Dylan doing? What was Dylan doing leading up to the areas of unknown time frame? So she's telling us right here. So she was swimming, drinking, and then she went back.
Me and my friend, and then right? And then we just all went to bed. It was the house we went to for a little bit, and then it was just me, like, who came home, and then later.
Okay.
She's a girl.
Okay. And are they all in the same place?
She has.
Okay.
Roommates.
Okay. So you guys were there, you came home early,
Yeah.
and then eventually.
So the redactions are obviously people's names. So, I mean, it is kind of infuriating a little bit that we can't know who and what. But, you know, like I said, there's a reason for that. And it's not anything nefarious. So she's telling you what's going on.
She went to her place. Where does she live?
She lives, like, down the street. I don't know exactly where
Okay.
it is. And then Maddie and Kaylee came home from the club. And then we all went to bed.
What time do you think you got home?
I think I got home around 12:30 to 1.
Okay.
Between there.
And then what time do you think you came home?
Like 10-20 minutes after I did.
Okay. And then Maddie and who else came from the
Kaylee, I think they came home like 1:32-ish.
Okay, so she's given a time frame ish. And if you've ever used that lingo, that could give a couple minutes forward, a couple minutes back, not necessarily the exact time. You know what I mean? So individual to give her a hard time as far as her remembering or not remembering or the things that she truly saw or heard. I mean, have you ever been interviewed by the police and asked to recall everything from the night before, after you've been drinking, after you've experienced this traumatic event, the stress induced issues that are going on? Have you ever done that? Have you ever had to do that? If you haven't, then you don't really understand the stress of having to recall this information out of thin air.
And at that point, nothing.
Nothing weird at all.
Okay.
Then everyone's asleep at 4 a.m. I like look at my phone and I can hear Kaylee and Murphy like dancing. I can
Okay, so she said at that point everybody's asleep because she looks at her phone and she can hear Kaylee and Murphy like dancing.
tell
Because
it's her
I
voice
can
and
tell
it's
it's her voice, and
Murphy because he's parked.
it's Murphy. So at 4 a.m., everyone is asleep but Kaylee and the dog. Okay, so if you're not smart enough to understand the dynamics of sentence structure and how she's speaking this is my perception. She's saying everybody's asleep. And then she mentions Kaylee and the dog dancing and listening to music. So if your mind is capable of understanding the dialect of when people are describing something, then you understand. She meant everybody was asleep but Kaylee and the dog. She didn't misconstrue her words to lie, is my interpretation or perception.
And then I hear her go upstairs because you can hear like everything. And I heard her say, "There's someone here," and I thought she ran downstairs. And then I jumped up and locked my door because I didn't know.
Okay, so at that point, it's still a misconstrued misunderstanding of sorts. Could that have been Kaylee saying there's someone here, or could that have been Xana saying there's someone here, aka the DoorDash driver? Because at 150, or let me get the time frame, 3:59, the DoorDash was delivered supposedly. So at 4 o'clock ish, Dylan states that she hears Kaylee and the dog dancing and, music playing. And then there's almost simultaneously somebody saying there's someone here. So if that was indeed Kaylee and it wasn't Xana, then who picked up the DoorDash order? Do you get what I'm saying? So if it wasn't Kaylee saying there's someone here, or even if it was, we don't know the step by step. It could have been Kaylee that said there's someone here. Xana run down, grab the DoorDash, come back up to her room or to the kitchen and start doing what she's doing.
What else to do?
So Kaylee and Murphy's her.
Murphy, so Kaylee and is Kaylee's ex-boyfriend. They share the dog pretty much.
And Murphy's the dog?
Yeah,
Okay. What is Kaylee's last name?
Goncalves.
Oh boy, spell that for me.
Gonclaves.
And is she here today?
No,
Was she one of the ones that was hurt?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, where is Kaylee's room compared to yours?
like right above mine.
Straight
She's
above. What, are you on the first, second,
second.
and she's on third?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on a second. If you're going upstairs, yeah, I always thought Maddie's room was above hers, but she could have been mistaken. You know what I mean? I'm giving her some leniency, not because I'm looking for her to be lying. I'm looking for her to be consistent with what she said in the documents as well, because that's the most important part. It's not about everything that's stated in this interview, because people have it misconstrued. They really do. They have it misconstrued whenever an interview is taking place. You take the high points out. It's like you're interviewed 4 times. Out of those 4 times, what is the most consistent evidence that you can be taken to court? What are the 4 or what the most consistent evidence that you can take out of that? How can you piece together this story so that it makes sense in a timeline and the evidence that you're choosing out of the statement that they're giving? So she got the room wrong. Does that make her a liar? If you think that makes her a liar because she made a mistake, okay, that's up to you. But I don't believe she was lying. I believe that she was miscombobulated in her head, and she got the dynamics of the house messed up. And how could she do that? Because she's under a lot of stress and trauma right now.
You said that Kaylee and share Murphy,
Yeah.
Hey, serious.
This.
and is James
Yeah.
current?
He's ex right now.
Okay. Any problems between Kaylee?
No, they're really good big friends still.
And still play with the dog and stuff like that?
Every now and then, yeah.
Okay. So, you hear Kaylee upstairs, she's dancing, playing with the dog, normal kind of thing, probably.
Yeah.
And then she says, there's someone here?
Yeah, when she goes, I can hear her go upstairs, and then I think she's in her room, and she says that someone's here, and I can tell she's scared, and she runs downstairs.
Where do you think she ran?
I don't know if she made it past the stairs,
Okay.
or if it was in the living room.
Okay. But you heard her on the stairs?
Yeah, I heard her running like super fast down the stairs.
Okay.
And then.
Okay, so if she was running fast down the stairs, did she see that person drive up or walk up into the yard? Did she see Brian actually walk up into the yard? She had to have seen him walking or perched up somewhere, because what would she have made that comment? There's someone here. And she said she sounded scared. And then she ran back up the stairs with the dog. So I guess she put Murphy in the room and then ran down the stairs again into the living room, she's saying. So if she ran into the living room, that means Kaylee's downstairs at this point. According to her statement, Kaylee is downstairs. So when Brian walks in, Kaylee could be in the living room as he went upstairs. And is it possible that Kaylee maybe walked in on the murders? I don't know. This part's confusing to me. I'll have to rethink it a little bit more later on, but it's really confusing.
I didn't open the door. I just called her name, and then I called Xana, Kaylee, and Logan on my phone. And then
What were those other names? Xana?
Xana, Maddie, we call Logan as Maddie, and Kaylee.
Okay. Do you know what Xana's last name is?
Kernodle. Kernodle, I believe.
Okay. And what about Maddie?
Mogen, Mogen.
And Kaylee
Goncalves.
Goncalves. That's the same one. Okay.
Yeah.
Were these three friends?
Yeah, we're all roommates.
Okay. Who was sharing the room with Kaylee?
Kaylee and Logan are both upstairs. They don't share rooms.
They have their own rooms?
Yeah, we all have our own rooms.
Okay. So these two are up on the third.
Yeah.
Where's Xana?
That's my floor.
Your floor.
She's closest to the bathroom on my floor.
Bathroom. Okay. So John and Katie aren't an issue.
No, they're not at all.
What about for Xana or Maddie? Are there any guys that are an issue? Any girls that are an issue?
No, Maddie has a boyfriend in Boise, super nice.
Okay.
Xana is dating Ethan, who was in the room with her. They're really nice too.
Okay.
So think about a 19-year-old young adult. She's answering these questions like a young adult answers questions. And you say, 12, how do you know? How do you know how a young adult answers questions? Well, let me break it down to you. I counsel young adults. I do assessments on young adults. I do interviews with young adults. And the way she's answering this is exactly what I hear. All the way around the spectrum. Where you have to continue to rephrase what they say to get clarification. That's called affirmation. But you wouldn't know that if you're just looking at this in the realm that you're wanting it to be her lying and the police to be pushing their narrative. The affirmation is saying, well, what I hear you say is this and that and the other, even though he's not saying it with those words, he's clarifying what he's hearing so he doesn't misconstrue where she's going with her timeline. Like I said, if you don't know this, then you would assume that they call it an interrogation. It's not an interrogation, it's an interview. That this interview would be about the cop wanting to get information from Dylan to pass along to other law enforcement so they'd instantly go on the hunt for Brian. And that's not how it happened at all. He hasn't asked one question so far about anything about the man in the house because he's getting a social history about the roommates, if they had anybody close to them that want to hurt them. Who were these people in this house? Because unlike the experts on YouTube, these police officers didn't know these people. Just because they went out there on a noise complaint multiple times does not mean that they know all these people in this home. It does not mean that they're able to recall who lives in the house, who's what, who's dating, who's this and that and the other. No. And even if they knew, they can't use their bias when they're interviewing a person about a quadruple crime. But if you don't know that, then you're looking at this as if this police officer is leading her in her answers, and every time he rephrases something, he's putting in her mind what to say. And that's not it at all. Because if you're actually listening to what he's saying, he's rephrasing her statements back to her. He's not adding any of it. And if he does put a word in there, it's because he wants to be clear whether that's what she meant or whether that's not what she meant. Yeah, exactly, Jeff.
I apologize. I don't know anybody's name or anything like that. So was Ethan, Xana, Maddie, and Kaylee all upstairs still? Are those the ones that got hurt?
Those are the ones that got hurt.
Okay.
And then the other girl that's here, she's on the first floor.
Okay. And was she the one in the yellow hoodie?
Yeah.
Okay. So she's a.
And I've heard people say she doesn't know Bethany's name. She described her as that other girl. Okay, so she says Bethany's on the first floor. Then he's going to ask, well, who's Bethany? Which girl is she? Because he doesn't know who these people are. You're looking at this through the lens of somebody just being exposed to these individuals for the first time.
So anybody that would want to hurt Ethan or that's jealous of Ethan?
No.
Nothing like that.
No, I've never heard anything.
Any cars that were in the area that you can think of that wouldn't have been wrong?
No, I wasn't really looking at that.
Okay. And you didn't see anybody come downstairs. Did you hear anything
No,
else?
I don't even know how they got in. We're usually pretty good about locking doors, and we've never had problems before. Like, it was just really random.
Okay. So you're getting home around 12:31.
Yeah.
You've got Maddie that comes home just shortly after.
Yeah.
Maddie comes home shortly after that. And then from that point, from about 2 to 4, did you fall asleep?
Yes, I fell asleep.
Okay.
Okay, so once again, for those of you that don't understand it, he's rephrasing, he's affirmating her statements. That's why he's repeating it. That's why he's going over it the way he's going over it. Because he's reaffirming, okay, this is what you told me, this is what you mean, making sure that we're on the same page. And once again, like I told you, I interview juveniles, young adults, every day. I've interviewed and done assessments on adults 20 plus years. If you've never interviewed somebody by a core protocol and know how to piece interviewed answers together where you gather timelines and you gather social history, psychological history, mental health, substance use, education, employment, any of that stuff, and you think that these people are just asking these questions randomly, then you really don't understand the process. Because there's a method to these questions being asked. And it's not random questions. He's just not asking random questions out of his mouth. And I've heard people who obviously have a bias against law enforcement state, well, he's the worst interviewer or he's the worst interrogator I've ever heard. Okay. For one, once again, this isn't an interrogation. This is an interview. So he's not going to be hardcore with the person he's interviewing for that reason. Now, Brian's interrogation was probably a little more harsh, and that's the one that I'd like to see.
And Kaylee also came in with Maddie at the same time from the club.
So between that time, obviously, you're not hearing anything. you had something to drink, so obviously you're gonna sleep a little.
And you don't think that she has text messages to collaborate her thoughts and her statements? You don't think that the police didn't look in her phone and see text messages possibly from Kaylee or Maddie? Hey, we're on our way home, or hey, we're here, or they supposedly went up to Kaylee's room at 2 a.m. So that's how she knows that they were home during that time. It's a miracle that Dylan could recite as much as she recited. Instead of looking her as an uncooperative or an inconsistent interviewee, she was able to give a lot of information. And some of that information would have possibly been used in the trial or possibly not, if nothing more than just to collaborate the timeline. Nothing more, nothing less. At least Dylan is sharing with others what happened that night. Koberger sure isn't, and he knows the most. Why are they not upset with him? Exactly, because they want Dylan to say more than she knows. That's what they want. That's why they're calling her a liar, because they want her to say more than she's saying. And the fact that she isn't, it infuriates a lot of people, because that must mean that you're a part of it, because you would have known more information living in the house. Even though most of us, and not all of us, other than the killer and the victims and the surviving roommates, were in that house at the time of the crime. So I don't know where people get that they know what could have been heard, what wasn't heard. Everything that's spoken about this is assumption if it's not factual in the documents or firsthand information from these surviving roommates.
A little bit deeper, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you hear her, she says what she says, you hear her hitting the stairs, you open the door, cry out to her,
Yes.
and then you close the door because you're scared,
Yes.
right? What happens at that point?
I opened the door again, and I heard what I thought was Kaylee crying in the bathroom, and I heard this man's voice say, "It's okay, I'm gonna help you," but it wasn't like in a nice way. Like, it was just weird, and it was a voice I've never heard before.
Okay.
And then I called out to her, and there was no crying after that. I don't really know what happened after that.
So when you opened the door, you thought you heard Kaylee crying in the bathroom?
Yeah,
Okay.
but it could have been Dana, but I thought it was Kaylee at the time.
Okay.
See, now she's trying to put together what she believes was reality versus fiction. She's putting together in her mind as she's being interrogated, you know what, that was possibly more likely Xana than it was Kaylee. Because if Kaylee was upstairs at that point, Xana could have been in the bathroom that she heard down her hall, could heard her crying. It's, God, it's just terrible to think about how quickly this all happened. Because for those people that always say there's no way that this could have happened so quickly. Obviously it did happen quickly, because she was able to discuss this in a way that makes the most sense. I'm gonna have to close this off right quick. I'll be back for the second part. I got a visitor, so I gotta go. I'll be back. Part 2. Thank you.